Hello. In learning institutions and environments, mentors and teachers should build relationships and trust with students. Building trust with students has a positive effect on overall scores and long-term life. In 2018, Becky Supiano reported that having a mentor during college is linked to academic success and even graduates' well-being. A mentorship is just one form of a relationship that can happen between students and teachers. It is not the amount of time that is spent between a student and a teacher, but is the trust that is built between the two. When teachers have positive interactions with students, it results in more motivation to learn due to biology. Kaufman reports in her Building Positive Relationships with Students that when there is student praise and positive interactions, it results in dopamine release. The dopamine release feels like a reward to the actor, thus can result in positive conditioning. When the students are rewarded for their behavior, they will continue to produce the behavior they have been rewarded for. Thus, they are positively conditioned, and having a relationship with students has an overall effect on students' motivation to learn. Instructors should praise students for participating, contributing efforts, and even when the student is incorrect. An instructor should look for ways to praise students, even if it's as small as attendance. Another way for instructors to have a strategy for learning the needs and interests of students is to have an icebreaker activity at the beginning of the course where students submit an index card with their career goals, their learning needs and interests, and maybe even something personal about them. Another thing that the instructor could do would be to hold weekly office hours, either online and Zoom or in person. This would allow for students and mentors and teachers to have one-on-one time, and this one-on-one time could help them build a relationship. The key to relationship building is to have more positive interactions than negative interactions. Kaufman reports that there should be a 5-to-1 ratio between positive interactions and negative interactions. So for every negative interaction, you should have 5 positive interactions to counteract that. Instructors should also inform students that they can come to the instructor if they have questions or clarifications or need modifications for assignments that are in interest with their particular learning needs. This allows for students to have a safe environment to communicate their needs, and therefore the one-on-one time that's provided by the instructor builds relationships between students and teachers. When students and teachers have different viewpoints, it's important to remain objective. Baumgartner and Merriam in 2020 in their Learing and Adulthood reported that reflective discourse is necessary when there are opposing viewpoints. Reflective discourse is when evidence is weighed for and against the argument and then critically assessed. A reflective discourse is not a debate, but it's a tool for students and adults to make their best judgment. Reflective discourse can result in a transformation from an argumentative to an empathetic mindset, which allows students to be more open-minded to opposing views. Reflective discourse results in transformative learning. Either a viewpoint will be transformed based on the reflective discourse, or students will become more empathetic to be more open-minded to understanding of other people's viewpoints, which is also a transformative version of learning. With a Christian worldview, it is important for an instructor to be culturally aware of cultural diversity. Singhal and Gulati in 2020, in their 5 essential strategies to embrace culturally responsive teaching, reported that being aware of your self-bias is very important to understanding cultural differences between students. In Henslin's Sociology, a down-to-earth approach 2017 book, he reported that the culture within us is something that we should be aware of. And the culture within us is the blind belief that what we know to be our culture is normal. This can also lead to ethnocentrism, which is important for instructors to avoid. Ethnocentrism is using your own culture as a yardstick to compare and measure other cultures with, which can lead to discrimination. Once an instructor is aware of their own self-biases and their culture within them, then they can help other students open their minds to cultural diversity. This creates a safe learning environment for cultural diversity and cultural inclusivity. And by being aware of your own self-biases and helping other students be aware of their own self-biases, it is also a reflecting of the respecting of students and their cultures, because you're acknowledging their cultures and their differences.